Hello, viewers. I'm glad you're here. It's time for Makgeolli Talk. Did you know that washing rice is milling? Yes, washing rice is called the second milling. So what does that mean? Well, that's what I'm going to explain today. And this gives me a chance to talk a bit more about soaking and washing rice as part of the process of brewing rice wine. So what do I mean by milling rice? So when rice is harvested, it has a husk that's removed, and then you're left with brown rice. And then if that is milled, like the outer part of the rice kernel is removed, that's the bran. If that part is removed, instead of brown rice, you'll have white rice. And that percentage of milling is around 8%. And the more that rice is milled, the more starch the remainder has proportionally. The part that's milled away has more of the protein and fats. So the starch content of the rice changes as the rice is milled. And for sake brewing, you often hear about rice being milled a lot, down to, say, 50% of the original weight of the rice kernel. If that much is removed, you're left with almost all starch. Now, for brewing makgeolli, you don't normally use rice that's milled that much. You actually want you actually want protein and a bit of the fats to provide a more complex flavor profile. During the fermentation process, these proteins and fats will be broken down into flavorful substances. So for brewing makgeolli, at least commercially, the rice is just milled to remove 8% of the outside brown rice, and what's left is white rice that is suitable for brewing Korean rice wine. So that's pretty much the normal chop sal that you can buy in the store. That's suitable for brewing makgeolli. So what did I mean when I said that washing rice is the second milling? Well, so what's the purpose of washing rice? It's to clean it, and you can detect grains that are irregular, that float or sink. Those are probably those grains you don't want, or any foreign substances. You can remove them as you're washing the rice. So that's a good purpose for washing the rice. So let's say you wash the rice for 10 minutes. Well, that could actually remove some of the outer coating of the rice, and washing the rice could be the same as milling 1 or 2%. So this is like an additional manual milling process. So you do have to be careful when you're washing rice. If you do it too vigorously, you're going to be scraping off too much starch from the outer part of the rice grains, and you'll never get the water clear, for one thing. And unless you're intentionally trying to mill the rice down, you don't really want the rice to shrink too much. So washing the rice does end up milling the rice, I say 1 or 2%. So you don't want to wash too vigorously. And since we're talking about washing, step after washing is to soak the rice. And one of the reasons for that is to sort of equalize the moisture content of the rice, make it more uniform. Because as rice is stored, it could dry out, or if it's stored in humid conditions, it could absorb moisture. I believe the rice, when it's first harvested, could be 20% moisture content, and when you buy it, I think it's supposed to be around 14%. And if it's dried more for long-term storage, it could be as low as 8%. So there's quite a range of moisture content in rice. and the rice is going to either absorb moisture or release moisture as it's stored, depending on the environment. And so that's a variable you don't want, because the amount of water in a recipe is one of the most important variables in a rice wine recipe. So by soaking the rice, if the rice is dry, it's going to absorb more water, and if the rice has more moisture content, it'll absorb less water. So you'll end up approximately getting a more uniform final moisture content of your rice. And soaking does a few other things too. There's some minerals that will dissolve into the water. And some other minerals might stick to the outside of the rice as it's soaking. So it does affect the mineral content, and usually in a positive way. This is a good thing for brewing. And also by absorbing the extra water, that is going to make the rice more digestible for the microbes later on in the brewing process. So soaking does a number of things that will really help the brewing process. So it's an essential step. But the point of today's Makgeolli talk is that washing the rice really is a form of milling. It can be considered milling. It can be considered the second milling, and you might end up scraping off 1 or 2% of the rice grain. So be gentle when you are washing your rice. That's it for today. Let me know what you think in the comments, and thank you for watching.